Well, I was able to get a long overdue haircut and found time to make another video. So I would say it's a pretty good start to the week. But today we're going to talk about methods of relaxation part 2. So enjoy. So last time we talked about the 4 different steps that you can use to get better at moving around the drums with anything that you're playing. And I didn't really give too much context or examples of what those things could be. So that's what today's going to be about, and maybe just some different things that will help you apply these steps to whatever you're doing. So I'm going to use 3 different examples for the steps that we described in the previous video. The first being paradiddles, and then flams, and then scrapes, which is the one I'm sure everybody wants to get to. I'm going to start with a paradiddle around. That's fairly simple. That's fairly common. It's this one. And we're going to start with step 1, which is play it on one drum. You know, pick a primer, something that's going to help you with the skeleton of the paradiddle, something that's going to help you build the foundation of the paradiddle so that you can play it better in time. And I'm going to pick something simple, so it's just going to be like this. Oh, I messed up. Cool. So once you have that figured out, once you can get paradiddles to sound good and you know all that good stuff, then we can start to go to step 2, which is put it on the arounds. Well, and the important thing is to take it slow. Make sure you're playing it at a tempo that allows you to approach it the same way with the same relaxation as you do on one drum. And that has to be your starting point. And then you can go from there. Don't try to play it at a mid-range tempo or a fast tempo where you feel kind of frantic and you don't know what's going on in here. This is so that you can figure out what's going on in here. Step 3 is identify what your tendencies are. Identify where you're squeezing, and when it comes to crossover paradiddles, it's usually going to be something along the lines of the underhand. Making sure you're not shortcutting that. Make sure you're giving that its full value and full attention before you go on to this. A lot of times when you're doing crossovers, people tend to lift their wrist or to squeeze more or do some weird stuff that you don't really need to do. And that's your job to figure out. And step 3 is to analyze at what points does your sound quality or your rhythm start to degrade from what it is on one drum. And that's why it's good to be really good on one drum, so you have a benchmark from which to compare your around rhythms to. So that's why you cannot skip step 1. You have to start with step 1. And then step 4 is just rinse and repeat. Just do the same thing, do it faster. Cool, and then you can take it faster than what you actually need to play it at if you really want. So that was paradiddles, and we're going to talk about flams really quick. If you haven't broken down flams hand to hand, you should start with that, because to fully comprehend what you're playing with flams, you need to start by understanding what each hand is doing, and it's actually a lot more challenging than what people think. Playing an accent or a downstroke straight into some tap 3s. That in itself can be challenging, and I feel like that's why a lot of people's tap qualities on flam rudiments tend to be higher, because they're not fully getting down and playing that 3. But that's for another video. But if you're playing off some sort of flam around, maybe for example this, we can break that down too. And we're going to start with step 1, break it down, create a primer, something simple, something that outlines the skeleton. So once you get that sounding right, once the rhythms are right, once that starts to feel comfortable, and once you're happy with it, then we can start putting it on the rounds. So it's going to be something like this. ask yourself, are you doing that the same way you do on one drum? If not, take it slower, figure it out, figure out what tempo you can achieve the rounds without sacrificing any of the grip or your relaxed approach, and then go from there. Start there, then go up. Don't try to take it faster than it is. Trust me, it doesn't take months and months to get this down. Sometimes it can take days or weeks just to. It's more for you to be conscious about it. It has less to do with your ability to, and sometimes that's all people need. Some people that can play really well on one drum don't always do so well in the rounds because they don't realize what they're doing on the rounds that makes them more tense or something like that. And now we arrive at scrapes, which is what everybody wants to learn. I know. And there will be plenty of videos about scrapes. Don't worry. I know that's what you want. But we're going to start with this. So pick something simple like gallop or short, long, or dig it up, and make that your one drum thing. I like dig it up, and some people call it gallop. I don't know what the proper name is, but it's this guy. Cool. Don't biff the ending like I did. Once you're happy with that on one drum, once everything is rebounded and everything sounds good, then you can start putting it on some simple scrape patterns. Like if you're doing like outwards, inwards. Cool. And now you can start analyzing yourself and saying, am I playing those double strokes the same way as I do on one drum? And when I get to my scrapes video, I'm going to emphasize the importance of full strokes. Make sure you're playing full strokes. Make sure you're getting the stick back up to bounce and all that good stuff. And then you move to step 4 and take it faster, but not before you spend some time on step 3 actually trying to analyze yourself. And just another thing, like if I know a lot of you guys want some tips on or videos on how to play like helicopters or figure eights or stuff like that. It all starts with this. It all starts with figuring out how to approach the scrapes, just scrapes in general, not even like crossover scrapes, but just scrapes. How to approach scrapes like you do on one drum so that you can stay relaxed while moving around the drums playing diddles. And that's how you end up doing all the crossover stuff, because you're not so much worried about how you're going to get off the head. You're more concerned about where you're placing your beats. But anyways, hope that video helped. I can do more examples in the future if you want. But if you have any comments or requests, go ahead and put them down below. And until next time, happy drumming.